The head of the institute defends their work, suggesting the potential benefits outweigh any risks, while emphasizing their commitment to safety protocols. Reports emerge of injuries and evacuations in the region, reminiscent of a previous incident. City officials attempt to maintain calm by assuring the public they have the situation under control. Meanwhile, intense emissions are occurring in the zone, described as unusually fierce. Someone is attempting to access a restricted area through an alternative route, carrying what appears to be an unusual artifact. There are discussions about how artifacts typically lose their power outside the zone, but this particular one seems different. A scanner is being used to analyze the artifact. The situation escalates as security teams respond to a perimeter breach. Communication becomes scattered as teams investigate a scientist's bunker and reports of extensive damage. Multiple teams are deployed to various locations as the situation deteriorates. Upon reaching the bunker, it's discovered that Dr. Nogoda and other scientists are dead. Important coordinates are needed from Nogoda's laptop. Instructions are given about using a scanner in specific locations, with warnings about radiation requiring artifact protection. The area becomes heavily militarized as soldiers move in to contain the situation. Despite warnings to abandon the mission, the protagonist continues, stating they have nowhere else to go. They encounter various anomalies and military personnel while trying to complete their objective. A mysterious helper appears, introducing themselves as a guardian angel and providing guidance on navigating anomalies using bolts. They reveal themselves as a former stalker guide who's familiar with the zone. Important information about the Wardens, a powerful controlling force in the zone, is shared. The action shifts to a rescue mission involving a character named Gloomy, who has been captured by bandits. A group of survivors including Squint, Richter, and others are introduced. A plan is formulated to rescue Gloomy from approximately 5 hostile captors, with the protagonist agreeing to help despite the risks. A hidden stash containing weapons and supplies is being offered as assistance. The gear includes a gun and ammunition, with instructions to protect someone named Gloomy. This demonstrates the survival-focused nature of the environment and importance of being properly equipped. There is tension regarding someone named Jorik, who lost money gambling and tried hiding out in this area. This resulted in trouble with some goons who targeted the wrong person. The situation reveals the dangerous consequences of debts and rivalries in this harsh environment. A detector device was fortunately not taken by the attackers, since they avoid diving into anomalies for artifacts themselves. Instead, they prefer targeting lone travelers. This highlights how some take the easy but unethical path rather than do the risky work themselves. The mood is tense as conversations are being avoided during these difficult circumstances. Life in the zone is described as challenging but still preferable to life on the mainland, suggesting people come here despite hardships to escape worse situations elsewhere. 3 patrol members were found dead by an old bridge. A weapon belonging to one of them is being sold by someone called Hamster, who got it from another person named Squint. This has created conflict with local authorities investigating the deaths. A local leader named Gaffer is described as usually being helpful to newcomers, but is currently dealing with significant problems. There are suggestions to either work with local wardens or wait for Gaffer to be in a better mood before seeking assistance. Free advice is being offered about survival in the zone. Key points include the importance of traders and technicians, proper equipment maintenance, and how to handle conflicts between factions. It emphasizes diplomacy over violence when possible. A situation develops involving someone named Valik Lumux, who owes money and has barricaded himself. This showcases how debt disputes can quickly escalate into dangerous confrontations in this environment. A bar has become an unexpected gathering place for stalkers seeking refuge from harsher areas. The establishment serves both independent stalkers and wardens, showing how commerce can bridge different factions. Complex relationships between various characters including Richter, Squint, and others are revealed. A mission involving climbing a tower and handling sensitive equipment is proposed, with warnings about potential dangers and instructions to help certain individuals if possible. A system was created to track rookie PDAs in case they go missing after missions. To locate Squint's PDA, 3 signal points are needed, with 2 already identified. The third point requires careful climbing, as a previous climber took a month to recover from a fall. During the power routing process to the amplifier, the antenna catches fire. This requires replacing the coils again. An alternative ancient antenna nearby is suggested as a temporary solution, though fixing the damaged one will take at least a week. Captain Zoltal discusses tracking down Squint, who allegedly stole ward property. The captain explains that while Squint may be disliked, his status as a stalker and knowledge of the lesser zone makes him difficult to catch. The ward wants to recover sensors taken from their fallen men. Intelligence suggests Squint is hiding at a nearby warehouse. Despite suggestions to send a squad, a more discreet approach is preferred, since Squint would easily spot a large group. There are suspicions about Uncle Lonius' eagerness to direct forces to specific locations. While searching for Squint, information is obtained that he was seen heading toward a farmstead, likely hiding at the mill, since other buildings in the area are too damaged to provide proper shelter from emissions. This intel was purchased from local contacts. An encounter reveals Squint needs help escaping the lesser zone and requires an artifact from a nearby cave. After retrieving the artifact, despite a dangerous encounter in the cave, Squint offers some ward equipment as payment, since he has no money or other gear. Background on Squint reveals he was once an ordinary stalker who snapped. The stolen sensors contain recorded data that could compromise many if the ward obtains it. Information about S.T.A.L.K.E.R, an IPSF tech working with Suhian at the sphere mapping anomalies, is shared. A lead suggests investigating the backup communications center under the ribs, where evidence of Suhian's illegal activities might be found. This dangerous mission could provide leverage, though many are hesitant to attempt such a risky operation. During a tense confrontation, information about Nestor, the kingpin of garbage who runs a scanner business, is revealed. The source insists they didn't betray Hermann, though admits to previous betrayals of others. After learning about Nestor, directions are given to the detention center via the northern checkpoint, where additional help can be found. The gaffer has the key, and despite their wild reputation, the men there are described as helpful. The conversation turns to emissions, described as a deadly red wind that requires immediate shelter when warning sirens sound. The lethal nature of emissions is emphasized, with survival being impossible without proper protection. The area is inhabited by islanders who don't take orders from the Dukkha seriously. The local wildlife situation is relatively manageable with just small creatures like boars, dogs, and cats around. It would be way worse if there were larger animals like elephants or rhinos in the area. The village has straightforward rules: no brandishing weapons, no fighting inside the village, and disputes must be settled outside. A key piece of advice is to stay away from the ward, as they view people merely as disposable tools rather than human beings. Silesia is a hard-won sanctuary, defended against both Monolith and S.T.A.L.K.E.R forces to provide stalkers a safe haven. While mutants and anomalies exist, other humans pose the greatest threat in the zone. Despite not being best friends, the residents of Silesia maintain a peaceful coexistence. Captain Zotov announces the completion of the ward's investigation in the lesser zone, restoring freedom of movement, but warning of severe consequences for any violations. No more second chances will be given. The group S.T.A.L.K.E.R, formerly assisting scientists in studying the zone, now stands against a serious threat from the ward. They seek help investigating a factory basement containing Nestor's archive, which might reveal his location. However, the ward has sealed exits and jammed communications. There is tension around some sensitive files and records that need to be disposed of. Someone working at the slag heap expresses frustration about being stuck there dealing with stalker-related matters. A newcomer arrives from either the Cardone or Lesser Zone, sent by the Gaffer. They are welcomed warmly and offered drinks, suggesting the beginning of potential cooperation or business dealings. A tech reveals their workshop was attacked by unknown assailants. They escaped using a scanner to create anomalies. The situation suggests Nestor's involvement has created complications, and the tech warns that getting involved will require serious preparation. A key card found on bandits is identified as a spare workshop key belonging to Nestor. There's speculation that Nestor may have been captured and forced to reveal information. All his records are supposedly kept in a special stash location. A philosophical observation about the zone describes it as a place containing everything: friendship, enmity, wealth, death, miracles, and self-discovery. While the CMPP, nuclear power plant, remains inaccessible, there is discussion about past adventures in Pripyat, including a memorable Ferris wheel ride. A deep conversation begins about loss and the zone, a mysterious place that offers a chance for transformation. Despite its hellish appearance, the zone is described as having a will of its own and knowing what is best. There is mention of Pripyat and its Ferris wheel, suggesting hope amidst darkness. A plan is discussed involving scanners, artifacts, and radiation cleanup. The operation involves throwing away scanners with circus trash, having diggers take them to a labyrinth for cleanup, using artifacts to absorb radiation, and having someone named Diode modify them. The modified scanners would then be scattered around a dig site with coordinates sent to BIOS. An encounter with a mysterious figure beneath a factory is mentioned. This person is referred to as a legend who affected the wardens somehow. There is also discussion of people at a detention center who are described simply as good people rather than legends. A tense situation develops involving territory belonging to someone named Varon, who apparently does not like being disturbed. The scene suggests a power dynamic and territorial control within the zone. A confrontational meeting occurs where accusations about stolen scanners and attacks are exchanged. The discussion reveals a complex situation involving a character named Nestor's kidnapping and attacks during artifact refueling. The conversation suggests underlying power struggles and betrayals. The political landscape is explained, featuring three main powers: the Speaker, Roosevelt, backed by duty, and the Shah, supported by freedom. A deal is proposed requiring either money or a PDA from one of the rival leaders to gain cooperation. A merchant discusses a missing courier named Gonzo and a valuable shipment. The situation involves the Brood's lair and their leader, the Shah, suggesting criminal activity and territorial disputes. A confrontation reveals a failed scheme involving the Dome and a courier. The plan went wrong, resulting in violence. Information about the Shah's secret stash and a special mainland gun is offered as bargaining leverage. The resolution of the courier mission is reached with payment being made. The scene transitions to a tense situation involving scanners, betrayal, and a captive in an underground garage. The situation escalates into violence, with discussions about interrogation leading to a combat scenario involving grenades and tactical movements. A tense confrontation occurs when someone arrives at a location after getting into trouble with Varon. Guards demand to see what was found and are conducting some kind of cleanup operation. A search is underway for someone named Diode, who is located on the first floor. The territory that was once considered neutral is now under new management. There is conflict over access to a restricted area with heightened security and secrecy. A person named Skiff is seeking to meet with Dio and receives permission to proceed after identifying themselves. A discussion begins regarding a mysterious puzzle found in the zone. The conversation reveals tensions between different factions. A key topic is a valuable device from the Institute that was activated at an old bridge but was subsequently stolen during an attack. Dmitro Dallin introduces himself as the head of Circa. He explains that their scanner device and its revived artifact are crucial technological achievements. He makes grand promises about transforming mankind and offers rewards for cooperation in recovering the scanner. A private conversation reveals deeper concerns about the situation. There are musings about mutants' behavior and their reactions to human aggression. The discussion suggests growing tensions between various factions in the zone and hints at hidden agendas. Information emerges about Project X and pre-Institute scientific activities in the zone. The conversation reveals that current Institute technology is based on discovered designs rather than original innovations. There is criticism of the ward's intentions regarding zone control. A philosophical discussion about the zone's dual nature occurs, its dark side and a mysterious shining side. References are made to Eternal Spring and a Klondike of artifacts. The conversation hints at a conflict between preserving the zone and exploiting it. Details about Circa facility emerge, built on an old site that was previously sealed. Its opening is linked to mainland troubles. A plan forms to investigate ward activities using a scanner. Discussion of Noontide Group and accessing Wild Island follows. The conversation turns to S.T.A.L.K.E.R, who allegedly witnessed the Shining Zone at the center of the area. Though details remain scarce, this revelation suggests deeper mysteries within the zone that some believe hold great significance. The scene shifts to Wild Island, where cargo delivery leads to tense interactions. A Professor Larochka is mentioned as the intended recipient. This sequence reveals complex relationships between different groups in the zone. The final segment focuses on locating Strider, who is apparently dealing with an emergency at a storage facility. Access to Strider requires permission from Dubny, his protective right-hand man. The situation hints at ongoing crisis, requiring careful navigation of local politics. A tense confrontation occurs where someone named Faust is accused of wrongdoing. Faust claims he sent Foma with Strider and warns about seeking enemies among their own kind while mentioning a stalker in their midst. The accuser remains distrustful despite letting Faust in. Someone seeks to speak with Strider, who is dealing with a dangerous situation at the storage facility involving anomalies. A discussion about stalkers and artifact trading ensues, with permission ultimately granted to proceed. A scanner device is discovered and turned off to enable safe conversation. The scanner appears dangerous when activated without an artifact present, suggesting it may have been used as a weapon in a previous attack. A revelation about Monolith Technology emerges. Noon is described as separate from Monolith. Having rejected their past, they no longer use old gear or attack others. The Monolith is explained as a means of brainwashing people who got too close to the zone's secrets. Noon is explained as a group seeking a future for former Monolith members who struggle to integrate into regular stalker life. They have chosen their own path forward, distinct from other zone inhabitants. A situation involving Kvashka, who became zombified after radiation exposure on the roof, is discussed. A request is made to shut down an antenna and deal with Kvashka, though some hope to save him. A plan to trace Monolith PDA commands is discussed. An inductor is needed from WPS, and Horus is identified as the technical expert who can help with the operation. A distress call comes in about an attack on a station. People are reportedly losing their minds and shooting each other, with only 2 survivors making it out. After dealing with a controller, dangerous mutant, a confrontation occurs with hostile forces sent by someone named Dupny. The situation turns violent, revealing tensions within the group. The history of Noon and its connection to Monolith is explained. They were once controlled by the Wish Granter and acted as brutal protectors, but lost their memories when Monolith went silent. Under Faust's leadership, they now seek to live normally without causing suffering. A tense conversation reveals past betrayals within a brotherhood. Bluish wanted to leave, but was convinced to stay. The speaker expresses bitterness toward Dubny and Strider, suggesting deep-seated resentment over broken trust between former allies. An intense discussion about someone referred to as God reveals conflicting beliefs. Some claim this figure is dead, while others passionately argue that such a being cannot be killed, comparing it to the permanence of natural forces like wind and rain. A heated debate between Faust and Strider highlights their ideological differences. Strider emphasizes practical concerns, while Faust remains devoted to past beliefs. The exchange reveals deep divisions about purpose and leadership. The conversation shifts to reflecting on their group's transformation. They discuss how they were once part of something greater, but are now struggling with guilt and death. Environmental hazards and enemy attacks are taking their toll on their members. A debate about Wild Island emerges, questioning whether it offers true meaning or just gathers similarly lost souls. The discussion reveals tension between maintaining old beliefs and accepting change. The narrative shifts to discussing Noon's rejection of its past and embrace of a new future. They view memory loss as beneficial and emphasize earning their future through hard work, though some, like Faust, still cling to old memories. Information about an old azimuth communication station is shared, revealing plans to eventually destroy it after dealing with remaining monolith elements. The station requires specific access keys currently held by the ward. A significant conversation about trust and brotherhood occurs, with someone offering a gun as proof of alliance. The gesture symbolically represents choosing future possibilities over past attachments. A confrontation reveals deep ideological divisions. Someone devoted to the monolith expresses willingness to die for their beliefs, claiming others cannot understand their perspective. They justify potential deaths as necessary sacrifice. The scene shifts to a camp where Star from Spark offers assistance. They discuss the importance of mutual trust and cooperation among different groups, emphasizing the need to work together despite differences. Radio communications reveal internal conflict within the Wardens. Orders are given to detain Lieutenant S.T.A.L.K.E.R with authorization to use lethal force if necessary. This suggests a serious breach within their ranks. Someone, feeling empty and defeated by the zone, requests a quick death. The scene emphasizes the psychological toll of their harsh environment and circumstances. A tense radio communication situation unfolds as someone tries desperately to reach their commander who isn't responding. The radio should be working given the short distance, but there's no answer despite repeated attempts. The situation becomes increasingly concerning as communication remains broken. The mood becomes darker as someone contemplates putting the commander out of their misery. There's obvious distress about being left alone and fear about the commander's fate after going into a dangerous area. The scene is filled with tension and anxiety. Someone announces they've discovered how to access Circa and is currently at the location ready to investigate. The communication remains spotty, with multiple attempts to get the message through. There is determination to complete the mission despite the difficulties. Gunfire is reported, and there's discussion about snorgy creatures possibly harming the commander. There's regret about letting the commander enter the dangerous area, and tension rises when someone asks about S.T.A.L.K.E.R, leading to hostile confrontation. A stalker encounters someone by a broken ladder. They discuss an invisible creature that's never been seen before. The conversation reveals they're both searching for S.T.A.L.K.E.R and there's an exchange about medical supplies. The situation remains tense but cooperative. A discussion occurs about a backup power system and a lieutenant who got separated from their squad due to bloodsuckers. Despite having limited ammunition, the lieutenant reveals information about S.T.A.L.K.E.R being at Echo Station after some convincing. The conversation takes a philosophical turn about sacrifice and happiness. Someone who appears to be a scientist is trying to justify their actions, speaking about feeling needed and having a greater purpose. They express regret, but insist their actions were necessary. The scene shifts to a different location where someone discusses the zone's politics and factions. They share their experience of living in the zone for 10 years without joining any factions, which has earned them a unique position among the locals. A former guide shares their story, admitting past mistakes and overconfidence in their knowledge of the zone. They recommend finding Nimble, known by their snore-gassed mask, who can be found with trapper hunting mutants in the swamps. The scene reveals connections to previous events at an old bridge involving a stolen scanner. Someone admits to working as a guide for shady customers obsessed with the Monolith. They discuss Faust, suggesting his blindness might be fake, before the conversation ends in the dangerous swamp area. A deal was made with Faust involving military weapons and artifacts, including a valuable Gauss rifle that was quickly sold. The mission involved guiding Faust's men to and from Clear Sky, though the details remained mysterious. Clear Sky was revealed to be a former faction that had broken up long ago. Faust has taken control of the abandoned Clear Sky base, somehow bypassing Professor Kalanch's defenses. Despite his men still needing guides, Faust moves around the base as if he owns it. A warning is given about the dangers of going there, though a map is reluctantly provided showing the locations of beacons needed for safe passage. Professor Kalancha, a brilliant Clear Sky scientist, had set up the beacon defense system before departing without saying goodbye. The beacons must be calibrated to allow passage through the ruins and swamps to reach Clear Sky base. What Faust is doing there is described as being like robbing a mass grave. A tragic mission to the center of the zone to stop S.T.A.L.K.E.R resulted in mass casualties, with only one survivor returning to find the base deserted and destroyed. The beacon system involves controlled anomalous fields, though the technical details remain unclear. Without proper calibration, reaching Clear Sky is nearly impossible. A grim list of fates is recounted, including deaths by various violent means: hanging, being torn apart by dogs, drowning, and disappearances. The monolith is discussed as speaking in many tongues, with different meanings for different people seeking repentance or forgiveness. At a ranger station meeting, discussions reveal the ward has moved the Wishgranter from CNPP to Circa. The Wishgranter is explained to be a dangerous device used to protect the zone center, which drove people insane and turned survivors into monolithians. Plans are made to investigate its presence at Circa. Entry is gained to Circa, a restricted strategic facility, to deliver a scanner to Dr. Dallin. Inside access is granted through security checkpoints. The scanner is taken for compatibility testing while accommodations are provided for rest. Communication with Strider confirms the mission to investigate the monolith's presence in the labs. Heavy security makes infiltration challenging. A speech announces plans to connect to generators for controlling anomalous energy, framed as a historic breakthrough. Montage, you'll catch a glimpse of the future of business. Entrepreneurs just like you, effortlessly conducting meetings, igniting innovative ideas, and unlocking endless possibilities with Meet Hour. Their discussions are not only engaging but also fuel their passion for growth. They collaborate seamlessly, sharing ideas and working towards a common goal. It's a whirlwind of productivity and joy. Imagine the convenience of hosting meetings from anywhere, anytime. With Meet Hour, you can break free from the constraints of traditional meetings and embrace a new way of doing business. No more wasting time on tedious logistics or travel. Simply connect online, and the world becomes your conference room. Reach out to colleagues across the globe, collaborate effortlessly, and watch your ambitions take. The discussion begins with talk about an artifact farm searching for a key to generators. The Alpha artifact is described as special due to its unique ability to convert electrical energy into a PSE field. Its incredible rarity and inability to be replicated make it essential for connecting to generators remotely. The conversation shifts to discussing artifact synthesis capabilities. While they can create artificial artifacts identical to natural zone artifacts, attempts to replicate the Alpha artifact have been unsuccessful. However, they now possess the real Alpha artifact thanks to recent efforts. The generators are explained as the source and center of the zone, located north of the CNPP. While physical access is impossible, remote connection through the network is achievable using the Alpha artifact. This breakthrough could potentially solve energy crises and advance physics research. A crisis erupts with a confinement breach in the cryptobiology lab, triggering the Aegis protocol in Sector C. This uncontrolled anomalous exposure forces a shutdown of all labs, potentially delaying Alpha artifact testing for days despite advanced containment technology. A plan emerges to speed up the process by bypassing protocol and taking a stalker approach. Dr. Kravchenko, head of the cryptobiology lab, is suggested as someone who can provide guidance, though warnings are given about the unusual nature of this anomalous exposure. The situation is revealed to be highly unusual for the facility, where security protocols typically maintain control. The only access route to investigate is through the ventilation system near the ARL building, with caution advised regarding valuable research specimens. Personal revelations emerge about stolen scanner technology and previous deceptions. The spatial anomaly creation was an intentional act to evade capture, though it didn't work as planned, landing them in a mock-forged section of X11. The second Caribbean experiment is revealed as a crucial historical event involving first contact with the noosphere, resulting in the first Alpha artifact. This risky experiment had far-reaching consequences, including anomalies appearing outside the zone. The focus shifts to recruiting someone with specific qualities, a stalker with courage, persistence, and zone experience. This recruitment appears connected to upcoming operations involving the Alpha artifact. A discussion about a mysterious wish-granter device reveals its ability to show customized illusions of happiness to anyone who approaches it. The conversation acknowledges that those who seek the wish-granter are already caught up in their own illusions, suggesting the deceptive nature of the device. Questions arise about bringing a monolith to the location, referencing a previous failed experiment. The discussion reveals that Alpha artifacts serve as power sources for generators and other Project X installations, particularly those designed to create illusions like the monster mentioned. A conflict develops over who will test the Alpha artifact with the monolith. Despite claims that trained personnel should handle it, someone insists on testing their own artifact. This leads to intense moments involving wishes for the zone to disappear and statements about humanity being corrupt. A chaotic scene unfolds with multiple voices calling for cover and protection. There are mentions of stalkers and combat situations, suggesting a dangerous confrontation. The action culminates in urgent calls for evacuation and questions about safety. The aftermath of the Monolith Room incident leads to demanding questions about whose memories were witnessed and why an attack occurred. Explanations describe it as a minor distortion and illusion, with assurances that the installation has been shut down and everyone is safe. Plans are revealed to use anomalous energy through Circa, promising to grant real wishes for mankind. The vision includes providing unlimited energy and reaching the outer solar system. However, concerns about safety are raised regarding connecting artifacts to generators. A tense situation develops involving betrayal and secrets about stolen scanners. A difficult decision must be made about someone's fate, leading to an emotional goodbye scene that reveals complex relationships between the characters. A character named Skiff encounters a critical situation involving the Monolith and must choose sides between different factions. The scene involves conflicting loyalties and questions about trust, leading to a confrontation with weapons. Technical preparations begin for a major experiment, with various measurements and checks being performed. The unexpected presence of a stalker creates tension during these preparations. Final moments before a significant event reveal years of preparation coming to fruition. Promises of the zone's elimination and return to normal life are made, setting up for what appears to be the climax of the experiment. The aftermath involves urgent requests to retrieve crucial data from a data center. A flash drive containing experimental telemetry becomes vital for understanding what went wrong, suggesting the experiment had unexpected consequences. A discussion about scientific progress and prominent physicists making extraordinary discoveries takes place. There is optimism about future potential and capabilities, though the exact details remain unclear. The conversation has a forward-looking tone about scientific advancement. An urgent military evacuation is underway. A soldier named Skip receives orders to head to the helicopter pad due to Collins being in critical condition. Time is running short and immediate action is required to get personnel to safety. A tense exchange occurs with Kale about a near miss with a dangerous creature. Orders are given to retreat through underground tunnels. The situation is extremely hazardous, with thousands of lives potentially at risk. Clear instructions are provided to ensure survival. Instructions are given regarding a mysterious signal that needs investigation. The target location is identified as a chemical plant where others are waiting. The mission involves tracking down and retrieving the signal source. Reports come in about concerning activity and gunfire at a location called the Sphere. A defensive plan is organized at a bar for those with adequate experience. Those without experience are advised to stay back and avoid trying to be heroes. The Sphere comes under heavy attack from multiple hostiles. Communications indicate a serious situation with defenses being overwhelmed. A leader figure appears to be coordinating the assault on the Sphere. Updates about locating a signal emitter connected to something called the Monolith program. Instructions are given to transport the emitter to a chemical plant where a team is waiting. Equipment handling and gear distribution takes place. High-quality specialized equipment is provided based on combat experience. The gear includes specific enhancements for the mission requirements. Technical details are shared about a miniature version of something called the Duga, capable of amplifying radiation and affecting psi immunity throughout the zone. Its potential power is estimated to be 10 times stronger than previous versions. Plans are discussed for taking control of the Duga. A vanguard team is already scouting, with Captain Senkovich providing mission details. The operation involves coordinating with multiple teams and forces. The mission objective is revealed: create a diversion at a checkpoint to enable a safe landing. Coordination with Tachenko's team to eliminate a sniper will signal the start of operations. Equipment is distributed to mission participants. The operation begins with intense action. Teams face significant resistance and dangerous psi emissions. Urgent evacuation orders are given as the situation becomes critical, with teams preparing for assault under challenging conditions. A tense combat situation unfolds as a team is unable to reach their primary landing zone and requires immediate fire support. The squad is pinned down by enemy sniper fire, with Captain Jiko ordering the elimination of the threat. The team moves urgently under heavy pressure while trying to coordinate their evacuation. A concerning report emerges about Faust and his mysterious ability to create doubles of himself. The The situation has resulted in multiple casualties, including Colonel Korsena. This unusual phenomenon requires investigation through the Circa archives, with S.T.A.L.K.E.R suggested as a potential source of information. Research reveals limited information about bantams within specific radiation ranges. Professor Azersky, despite being known for studying pseudoscience, is identified as a potential source of knowledge about these zone-related phenomena due to his extensive experience. At S.T.A.L.K.E.R, a mathematician maintains strict order at the trading counter. Two missing team members, Blizzard and Lefty, are discussed. Blizzard disappeared while collecting bloodsucker victim samples, while Lefty vanished during sea radiation measurements in the Yantar area. Professor Azersky introduces himself as S.T.A.L.K.E.R's director and explains that the doubles are induced illusions caused by sea influence within the Tau range. This technology is connected to older sea consciousness research, including the creation of the Wish Granter. A plan is formed to investigate induced illusions through an abandoned mirror facility. The task involves activating a visual projection center and calibrating a communication antenna, requiring specific conditions and adherence to an operations manual for proper setup. The creation of phantoms is revealed to be classified research into induced illusions. Rector, a former guide now specializing in finding people, is suggested as someone who could help locate scientists involved in the original Phantom research project. Discussion turns to Treelock, a legendary stalker assembling a new crew to address zone-related issues. His previous team faced casualties during a mission to the Monolith, and he maintains a cautious approach to trust and cooperation. Devopolov is identified as a key contact from the research list. To meet him, one must bring a mutant collar, which he collects due to his past research. Despite initial reluctance due to past mistakes, Rector agrees to guide a hunting expedition for these collars. A tense conversation begins with uncertainty and hesitation between two parties. One person appears to be giving directions to find someone named Bupolo. Upon confirmation of obtaining the correct color, instructions are provided to locate Dubalov, including a password, the leash. The successful completion of a task is noted, though there's hesitation about future guide work due to its risky nature. Important information is shared about Devopolov, who has recently focused solely on vodka production and consumption. A crucial warning is given. While it's necessary to accept his drinks to conduct business, trying to match his drinking capacity could be fatally dangerous. The vodka situation sets up an important dynamic for any potential business interactions. A meeting occurs with someone who mentions a former assistant called Nightingale, described as an excellent worker and drinking companion. The conversation shifts to business matters, but first requires sharing drinks from a bottle located in a specific spot. This establishes the importance of social drinking rituals in conducting business. The discussion turns to more serious matters involving phantoms and induced illusions. When questioned about destroying phantoms, the response suggests skepticism, attributing such visions to bad vodka. However, there's mention of X5 facility and suppressors, described as sophisticated instruments designed for fine control, unlike the cruder color system. A scientific discussion reveals details about the professor's work and current state. The conversation touches on highly concentrated alcohol with anomalous components. A key card for X5 becomes central to the discussion, linking to research about phantom suppressors and a controller project involving enhanced specimens. Details emerge about X5 Lab, a previously unknown facility with classified research and hidden levels beneath Agroprom. The duty organization discovered it using explosives. The lab conducted mutant research, though its current state remains unknown. An agreement is made to search for specific project papers in exchange for access. The conversation reveals crucial information about a project called Faust, which apparently connected to the X network and caused significant chaos by bringing back the monolith. This leads to discussion of a controller project focused on creating enhanced specimens capable of independent thought and decision-making. The scene concludes with tense discussions about casualties and military operations. A revelation emerges about psi immunity studies that had unexpected side effects, specifically the loss of protection against targeted psi exposure. This information appears to have serious implications for those involved in the research. A Class 5 protection system was created, but with limited access. Intense combat with Monolith forces is occurring, with the enemy fighting fiercely to the death. There appears to be significant tension and conflict around the Proman factory situation, with accusations of betrayal and responsibility for soldier casualties being thrown around. Plans are being made regarding a mirror facility that Ozerski wanted operational. A strategy to defeat Faust is proposed, requiring technical assistance. Meanwhile, supply preparations are underway with restocking efforts and reinforcements being mobilized following Korsunov's return from Circa. A critical mission is being planned to take control of the Dugat and eliminate hostile forces. The plan involves using underground routes to avoid Monolith forces, with teams placing explosive devices at key locations. The mission is deemed urgent due to Faust's ability to remotely activate dangerous equipment. An explosion occurs but appears localized. The mission encounters complications, leading to a new objective to locate Faust. A group of Monolith forces is identified on the communication center roof, requiring immediate attention. A philosophical conversation unfolds about the nature of the zone and its impact on people. The discussion reveals deep insights about those who seek different things within the zone, from wealth to miracles to happiness. The monolith is described as bringing joy to select individuals. After a confrontation with Faust, instructions are given to search his body for important items. The mission concludes with recognition of sacrifices made, including Captain Zotov and Oleg C. The aftermath reveals complex relationships and hidden agendas among key figures. A crucial discovery is made connecting Proman, the Duga, and Malachite through an emitter. Investigation reveals Ozerski's betrayal, leading to severe consequences. The situation involves a device called the Visiograph, found at the Clear Sky base, which requires a special key for activation. A mysterious dialogue begins about questioning someone and making decisions about their fate. The conversation reveals details about anomalous energy from an Arabian experiment conducted by Circa that affected the mainland. Among those impacted, one person stood out by actively seeking the truth. The identity of a collective consciousness is revealed. 7 scientists merged into one mind called Sea Consciousness, with a direct connection to the Norsphere. Despite S.T.A.L.K.E.R supposedly killing them in Lab X7, their consciousness persisted within the Noosphere, though the merging process became irreversible. The Noosphere is explained as more than just Earth's information field. It enables eternal life as pure consciousness without physical limitations. However, attempts to harness anomalous energy could destroy all subtle matter. Their goal is to restore the damaged Noosphere structure and grant immortality to all beings. The conversation is interrupted by conflict as gunfire breaks out. Orders are given to kill without taking prisoners. The situation escalates into combat with multiple casualties and intense fighting throughout the area. The authenticity of the Sea Consciousness projection is debated. While some dismiss it as tricks, others remain uncertain given S.T.A.L.K.E.'s previous encounters. The focus shifts to finding a route to the generators through Dead Valley, with S.T.A.L.K.E. mentioned as the only person who successfully navigated the zone. A gruesome discovery is made of murdered individuals, sparking debate about whether mercenaries were responsible. The conversation reveals tensions between different zone factions and leads to discussion about finding a mysterious figure known as the Doctor. A wounded survivor describes an encounter with the Doctor, portraying him as an almost supernatural figure who can withstand radiation and bullets. The doctor methodically eliminated multiple team members, demonstrating exceptional combat abilities. The doctor is finally revealed, identifying a monolithian named Strider. The doctor explains his selective approach to saving lives, suggesting sometimes sacrifices are necessary for greater good. The conversation concludes with a search for information about S.T.A.L.K.E.R, though the doctor expresses doubt about S.T.A.L.K.E.R's ability to resurrect the dead. A discussion begins about helping Strider, who is fortunately a monolith. There is a former monolithician hospital marked on the PDA that might have a regenerator to help him. The hospital likely contains monolithians, and while there is a request to spare the wounded, the final decision is left open. The conversation shifts to discussing why both humans and mutants receive treatment. The explanation given is that neither group is truly responsible for the current situation. Life is described as the only true possession anyone has, regardless of its quality. The relationship with someone from Wild Island is described. This person had everything taken away: their past, fighting ability, and even their name. This leads into a discussion about scientists who managed to tap into the noosphere, Earth's informational field, comparing it to the significance of space exploration. The scientists became caught up in dreams of fame and recognition. Their secret labs and experiments had to remain hidden, leading them to pursue their vision of a perfect world. This ultimately resulted in the creation of the Zone decades later. Dr. Kiemannov reveals they were meant to be in the 8th pod during the experiments. The process required 8 participants in special solution-filled pods to connect with the noosphere. Instead of achieving control over the noosphere, their actions resulted in creating the Zone itself. Dr. Kiemannov explains their refusal to participate was rooted in a belief in humanity. While colleagues wanted to purge humanity of darkness through the noosphere, they believed human choices, both dark and light, were essential. The Zone emerged from tragedy, but with potential to be open to everyone. An analogy is made using blind dogs. Lab-born ones know only pain and fear, while a free-born dog named Tiger chose to approach on its own. This relates to how the Zone, though created through suffering, might have potential for change. The concept of subtle matter is explored, originally theorized by Valentine. This theory suggests the preservation of a person's mind and personality. The existence of the representative implies the theory's success, connecting to S.T.A.L.K.E.R's earlier encounters. Instructions are given to retrieve a cartridge from the signature station in Layer X3 near the cordon. While old entrances are destroyed, Sidorovich might know current access points. A code for the cartridge slot is provided. The Zone is described as unstable, with monolithians attacking on sight and stalkers being jumpy. A mission is discussed to retrieve a package, with the courier found dead near an old vehicle station. There are implications of conflict with bandits over the delivery. A tense confrontation occurs between 2 individuals over a package meant for Sidorovich. The package was intercepted during a courier job, leading to threats and negotiations. After some discussion, an agreement is reached to hand over the package and attempt to smooth things over with Sidorovich. The conversation shifts to discussing X3 and a mysterious location called the Oasis. A comparison is made to a legendary stalker known as the Marked One. The Oasis is described as an incredible location filled with artifacts, a true stalker's paradise. Documents suggest X3 and the Oasis are connected through an abandoned laboratory. At the infirmary, there are reports of increased gunshot wounds from encounters with monolithians. A patient named Red previously mentioned something about embryos and test tubes while under medication. Red hasn't been seen in 3 weeks, though he usually visits every 2 weeks. Discussion about an old laboratory at the cordon reveals it's a massive facility extending beyond the known area. Most entrances are now inaccessible due to anomalies or cave-ins. A mysterious figure named Dark had been recruiting rookies for some unknown purpose related to the lab. A series of encounters leads to meeting Dark, who reveals the connection between the lab and the Oasis. Dark admits to deceiving Siderovich about the lab entrance location, but confirms the importance of a decoder key that never reached its destination. Dark proposes a joint venture to explore the lab, claiming to have a mental map of the facility. He insists his presence is necessary to bypass certain security measures, even with the decoder. A deal is struck between the parties to work together. Inside the facility, they encounter power issues with an elevator. Plans are made to access the breaker through ventilation systems and find alternate routes. The situation becomes complicated when they discover a massive blast door with a double security system. A tense situation unfolds as communication is established between team members who have split up. There are attempts to use a decoder while maintaining stealth, though the signal appears to be weakening. The atmosphere is filled with urgency as someone struggles to gain access to a secured area. A critical situation develops with someone being pinned down by multiple hostile forces. Instructions are given to locate a security console on the lower levels to unlock doors. The success of the mission depends on teamwork and accessing this console. The tension builds as they coordinate their next moves. The scene shifts to an encounter involving someone named Skiff and their curious associates. A revelation about Dark emerges, involving TVs that are actually neurovisual programmers. These devices are lethal to those previously exposed to them, explaining Dark's unfortunate fate as a consciousness agent. A complex web of allegiances is revealed involving the Ward and their mission to control the zone. Discussion ensues about various factions, including Circa's lab, and their true motives. The conversation highlights the different groups vying for control of the zone, each with their own agenda. The discussion turns to the subtle matter theory and immortality in the noosphere. A shocking revelation emerges about the elimination of C consciousness scientists. The concept of induced illusions through C radiation technology is explained, connecting to various phenomena like phantoms and the Shining Song. A poignant conversation about the true nature of the Shining Zone reveals it to be an illusion. Years were spent searching for its supposed counterpart, only to discover it never existed. The focus shifts to accessing the S.T.A.L.K.E.R program control center through neuroprogrammers in X3. Dr. Kiemannov enters the picture, providing instructions about calibrating a central antenna. The process requires accessing old notes potentially located in offices with a specific code, 1995, mentioned for access. The preparation for a significant operation is underway. A dramatic turn of events occurs as Strider is revealed to be dead. The experiment appears to have failed, with implications of betrayal and manipulation by Monolith. The situation becomes increasingly complex, with personal vendettas and control issues coming to light. A flashback to May 2012 details a military operation at CNPP involving the disabling of C fields. The story of an empty shell serves as a reminder of past events and the speaker's resistance to becoming a puppet, unlike others who chose that path. The final phase involves investigating neuroprogrammers to locate the S.T.A.L.K.E.R program control center. The mission requires careful infiltration of a tropospheric communications point, with specific instructions about avoiding armed confrontation and using alternative entry points through an abandoned loading terminal. Through advanced technology inherited from C consciousness, they establish a connection, allowing them to see through the Dark One's eyes. The Dark One makes contact with Skiff, revealing a change of heart about killing Strela. This technological capability amazes those involved, though they need to work quickly before being detected. The signal is traced to the Pripyat catacombs, where the S.T.A.L.K.E.R program center is believed to be located. This area falls under Dmitro's territory, making a meeting necessary. Time is of the essence, as their activities have attracted attention from ward dogs. A tense confrontation occurs regarding a secret installation related to Project X. It's revealed that S.T.A.L.K.E.R is actually an agent of C consciousness, along with others like Dark One and S.T.A.L.K.E.R. The installation is designed to track these agents within the perimeter, though many have already escaped to the mainland. Skiff awakens in custody after discovering sensitive information. The colonel has become increasingly unstable and has imprisoned Skiff despite previous loyalty. The situation involves the noosphere, which contains consciousness imprints used for surveillance purposes. A complex situation unfolds involving betrayal and shifting allegiances. Someone offers Skiff help to escape, providing information about guard patrols and equipment storage. The exchange reveals deeper conflicts within the organization and questions of loyalty. Instructions are given to reach Pripyat through Yanif, with mention of someone called Spirit who can provide assistance. The situation in the area is tense, with the Monolith forces having taken control of a bridge and continuing their advance. The path to Pripyat is revealed to be challenging due to manpower shortages and Monolith presence. Spirit, a guide who previously helped stalkers cross boundaries, hasn't been seen since recent events. A contact at the water tower might provide more information about Spirit's whereabouts. Discussion turns to S.T.A.L.K.E.R, a legendary figure in the zone whose true intentions remain mysterious. While the legend suggests he wants to save the zone, his actual motives are unknown. The zone's nature as a testing ground for people's determination is emphasized. The quest to reach Pripyat is complicated by past relationships and failed missions. A previous arrangement with Dmitro is no longer valid, and nor harbors resentment over past incidents involving people who never reached their destination. A discussion about the heart of Chernobyl takes place, describing it as a powerful artifact that allows someone to understand and become one with the zone. The artifact was previously found by S.T.A.L.K.E.R, though others are now searching for it too. There's tension around protecting versus controlling this mysterious power. Spirit is described as a dreamer who wanted to find his own place in the zone, first in Pripyat and later in Lumux. After parting ways with his companion, Spirit headed through a tunnel toward Lumux, likely still searching for a way into the town. The two share a determination in searching for a home. A tense encounter occurs where someone is looking for Spirit. It's revealed Spirit hired guides to lead him to a location called the Mask, but something went wrong. The guides are protective and suspicious of anyone asking about Spirit. Important information about a special scanner is shared, coordinates to a bunker containing a modified scanner that can disable anomalies. The scanner was modified by someone called Diode from the garbage area. Instructions for using it are stored in the bunker. The situation in Pripyat is described as grim, with multiple hostile groups present, including Monolithians, Wardens, and Sparkers. There's discussion about accessing an underground area called the Foundation, with a sealed entrance under the Palace of Culture. Plans are made to infiltrate the Foundation through two possible entrances, the Policia Hotel and Olympia Cafe. The Policia Hotel route offers a direct approach, while the Olympia provides stealth opportunities. A coordinated assault is planned using both entrances. Information comes through about an ally in the ward, warning that enemy troops are approaching the Foundation. Time pressure mounts to stop whatever operation is being conducted underground. The facility has been under surveillance for years for unknown reasons. A heated exchange reveals tensions around maintaining old equipment and connecting generators. There's mention of a place called X11 and someone named Dmitro. Discussion includes references to mysterious pods where people apparently died and a physiogram described as a talking TV set. A heated argument breaks out between two individuals, with one questioning scientific credentials and exchanging hostile words. The situation quickly escalates into a physical confrontation where they divide up opponents, with one person taking on a colonel while the other deals with soldiers. An explanation is provided about an experiment that created a superconsciousness called sea consciousness. The Earth is described as being surrounded by the noosphere, a special field connecting all sentient beings and storing their mental images. The goal was to remove negative traits like anger from humanity through adjustments to this field. After the Walker Program Control Center was destroyed, emissions in the zone became more frequent, starting in Dead Valley before spreading. The Monolith Group has been withdrawing from Pripyat, splitting between CNPP and Red Fortress. The zone itself is experiencing significant changes and instability. A recording from X7 reveals philosophical thoughts about accessing the noosphere. The speaker argues that access should belong to all humanity, rather than just 8 chosen ones, viewing it as a test that could either lead to mutual destruction or elevate humanity to better understanding. A mission is discussed involving reaching the Red Forest and dealing with Kiemannov. The zone is described as renewing itself similar to events in 2011. To reach the generators through teleport, special experimental armor from Project X is needed to prevent molecular dissolution. A profound conversation occurs about the zone's nature and control. The speaker suggests the zone needs compassion rather than control or exploitation, questioning whether it can truly be free and discussing its apparent desire for freedom from tormentors. Discussion reveals plans to repeat an experiment using Kiemannov's cartridge containing mental images and memories. The cartridge serves as a key to important information that cannot be expressed through words alone. The experiment succeeds in revealing the zone's creation, showing Kiemannov damaging a consciousness-altering device and S.T.A.L.K.E.R retrieving a glowing artifact possibly being Chernobyl's heart. This revelation leads to questions about S.T.A.L.K.E.'s true motives. The final destination is revealed as the Red Fortress, described as the Monolith Stronghold. A challenging battle is anticipated as they prepare to fight their way in. The zone has changed significantly from its previous state, making the journey more dangerous. A deep conversation unfolds about the true meaning of being a guide. Someone reflects on their role, wondering if they have finally become a true guide. They acknowledge that while showing people around is simple, genuinely guiding others to where they need to be is more challenging. This person has achieved something meaningful on their own. Despite being wounded, the guide maintains a positive attitude, saying rest and medicine will help them recover. They express relief at successfully getting Skiff to their destination, preferring this outcome over losing another person's trust. The conversation reveals past struggles with accepting responsibility. The truth about the zone is revealed. It isn't inherently threatening or beneficial to humanity. Rather than being an active force, the zone simply exists, shaped by human choices. Someone needs to liberate it from these constraints, and Skiff has been chosen for this task. A discussion about S.T.A.L.K.E.R reveals his single-minded focus on his goals, seeing everything else as obstacles. The guide explains why they can't take on the responsibility themselves. Their love for the zone would make them controlling, similar to S.T.A.L.K.E.R. The zone needs someone who wants nothing from it. A significant realization occurs about an anomaly that destroyed someone's home. It wasn't meant to cause harm, but was actually a cry for help. This understanding marks a turning point in their relationship with the zone. The guide acknowledges that Skiff no longer needs guidance. The guide shares their future plans to continue leading people through the zone, sharing stories and making jokes around campfires. They express hope for survival and happiness in their role as a stalker, crediting their growth to their companion. The conversation ends with mutual respect and farewell. A tense confrontation reveals someone has died, though peacefully. The discussion centers on protecting the zone, with conflicting views about whether it needs protection or should be free. Past betrayals and trust issues surface, leading to heated emotions. The nature of human interaction with the zone is explored. Some try to control it by making souvenirs or containing it, but perhaps compassion is what it truly needs. Reports of unusual activity suggest significant changes are occurring, pointing toward the zone's potential liberation. The final moments reflect on personal transformation and the true meaning of freedom. Someone who once served the Monolith has found a new perspective. The zone is presented as a gift that teaches the importance of embracing freedom and continuing life's adventures.